Thank you for joining us in our Women in Leadership series. As a Beyond Recruitment business, we've found that there's a lot of discussion at the moment around women not being in leadership roles, women not serving on boards and women not serving on executive tables. We've actually found that there are so many stories to share, so many women that have done well in leadership and so many organisations that are running fantastic programs to help women grow in their leadership roles, and we'd like to take you on this journey with them. Thank you for joining us.
Well, Kathy, thank you very much for coming and joining us here today for our Beyond Women in Leadership video series. Nice to see you again. Thanks for coming along. We really appreciate the time that you've spent to come and talk to us today.
Kia ora. Yeah. Tēnā koe, Ben. Nā mihi nui ki a koe, ko waio, no Awharika ki te tonga, engāre kei te whanganui a Tara, noho ana e nāianei, ko Kathy Wolfe hau, he pō whakahare ki te Rito Maioha Early Childhood New Zealand. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. So I've just introduced myself. My name is Kathy Wolfe and I'm the Chief Executive of Rito Maioha. I am a mother of 4 adult children and a grandmother of 2 children. I love my job, I love my family and I love my sport.
You've obviously got a job of quite a lot of responsibility, but can you maybe start by telling us sort of what was your journey? How did you get to where you are today?
A lot of hard work. My career has been very eclectic. Started way back in South Africa as a legal assistant, and I've basically just worked through my career journey. I'm quite a goal-orientated person, and so I set myself goals and not always necessarily achieve them, but I think the biggest growth is about, wanting to learn, grabbing those opportunities, knowing that you will fail, you will succeed, but at the end of the day you will still be achieving and be successful. For me, mentors are very significant as well. Surrounding myself with people who were knowledgeable in the industries that I worked in, as well as making sure that they could guide me in my learning, both professionally, politically and emotionally. And I found a lot of my mentors did that for me through my career life, and they would either have come from within my organisation or been external to my organisation. And I think it's about just acknowledging who those people might be and how they can help you. And empathy for me is also a very core value. It's knowing that you bring people along on your journey as well. And having that respect and care for people is really important, and you can achieve through others, and you celebrate the successes with others as well.
So Early Childhood New Zealand, can you tell us a little bit more about that organisation and what it does?
So we're a mainstream organisation with a bicultural kaupapa. We're a tertiary provider in early childhood education, so we teach the teachers that teach in early childhood. But we're also a membership-based organisation where we provide a lot of advocacy and membership services to our centres. They seek financial advice or human resources advice, and we also provide that ongoing professional learning and development to teachers that are currently teaching in early childhood centres. We have 11 teaching bases throughout New Zealand, all the way from Whangarei down to Dunedin. We were born in 1963. Activist Sonia Davies, who was passionate about early learning and our youngest children, started this organisation. And through time we've had 2 name changes, mostly to reflect our bicultural tikanga and te reo Māori, mena tikanga Māori. So that's a little bit about our organisation, and the diversity is that we have Māori, Pacifica, South Africans, Americans, English, British, and obviously New Zealand, Kiwi as well.
Early childhood does have a really good reputation for having such a diverse workforce. What do you think the differences a truly and genuine diverse workforce makes to an organisation?
Yeah, I suppose I'd like to start with our mantra, And at Rito Maioha, we're all in this together. So it's tātou he waka eke noa. And having a diverse workforce, you need to acknowledge the different perspectives that people bring to that workforce. It provides that challenging debate. It provides that diverse thinking. And our programs that we deliver in our tertiary provision and early childhood actually captures that bicultural behaviour, but also the multicultural flavour, not only for our staff, but our students and our members. One of the things that Booth, Ness and Stratum said is that diversity is assumed, welcomed and viewed as a rich resource rather than seen as a problem. And I think that is quite key when you're running a diverse organisation. And walking the talk, I think, is the key thing as well. And I know that's a bit cliche, but I think it's about people really recognising that people will look to you for your values and your behaviours and your organisation's values and behaviours. And policy doesn't do that. You have to actually embed it into everything you do every day.
A lot of organisations out there are really starting to talk about diversity and wanting to be more, I guess, successful with their own diversity. What advice would you give to a peer in another organisation that was sort of more, I guess, embarking on that diversity journey?
I think it's about embracing it and knowing that people are willing to embrace it. As I said before, policy setting is not going to get you there. You really do need to embed it in everything you do as an organisation, and that's with not only internally with your people, but also externally with your stakeholders, how you behave with your stakeholders. So if you're looking at a true Māori, looking at tikanga Māori, then it's about doing pōwhiri, it's about singing waiata, it's about sharing kai, but it's also acknowledging other nationalities that you have in your organisation. So, for example, we've had some Chinese people come visit us, and we've done pōwhiri for them, but they've been able to give their mihi in their language and sing their waiata in their language, and that's the embracing that you need to be inclusive. Is probably where I'm coming from.
Any sort of specific diversity good news stories from your organisation?
So recently we had a group of Chinese students that came to do a study tour group with Te Rito Maioha, and they spent just over a month with us. And what they did, they students from a university that we have a relationship with in China, and they came and did a bit of immersion in studying our programs. And we kind of got some information about what their culture is in terms of delivering ECE in China. They did some block courses, some classroom learning in our teaching base, and then they went and volunteered for about 2 days in an ECE centre. And for us, the good news story there was that they learned how to do their mihi in Māori. So by the time they left, they were quite confident and competent to stand up and say their mihi. But the learning for us was, how we could converse with them and get some learning about their early childhood education in China. So that was one story. Another one was when I was with an industry training organisation, and we were an organisation that was embarking on a bicultural journey. And we really wanted to make a difference, and we worked with 4 industry sectors, quite different sectors to be fair. It was tourism and aviation, travel and museums and art galleries. But what we did there was to really aspire with those different sectors about embracing what we wanted to do as an organisation, and then when we worked with them, they embraced, our outlook and how we were going to work with their staff in terms of their learning, because they did on-job training with us. Yeah.
Do you think it's easier these days for women who aspire to move into leadership roles? Do you think it's easier nowadays than it was in the past for women to move through the leadership ranks?
I wouldn't say it's easier, but I think there's more opportunities available nowadays. When I started my career, it was in a male-dominated world, and today it's really heartening to see more women aspiring to leadership roles and actually succeeding in those leadership roles. For me, it's about women being mentors and mentoring women in leadership roles, and I think that's what's changed. So yes, not necessarily easier, but definitely better.
Have you personally experienced any discrimination in the workplace? And if you have, how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, I have. I come from a country that was rife in discrimination, and which, to be fair, also gave me the foundations that I needed when I settled in New Zealand, and I've been here almost 20 years now. So, this is truly home for me. But my own experiences, as I mentioned, I was carving a career in leadership in a very male-dominated country. Luckily, I went to school and in my home was immersed in that diverse culture. So discrimination was something that I never had as a child growing up, even though I grew up in an apartheid era. When I came to New Zealand, it was interesting to see similarities in terms of some of the discrimination, not only race but women, men, and for women that can be really tough trying to work through those discriminating environments. I never had any particular incident that happened to me, but there were times where I wasn't taken seriously, or times when actually I was bullied. But I think that's where, if you're going to be a leader, and to be fair, whether you're a woman or a man, you kind of need to have a thick skin, and part of that is actually just being assertive. And letting people know, you're in this and it's serious to you, and they need to take you seriously as well, and be part of that inclusion in the leadership environment.
Look, you've had a really, sort of quickly accelerating career. What's your, proudest moment or biggest achievement?
For me, I've had a few achievements, but one that I can't really put my finger on. For me, it's around, I suppose my biggest achievement is the fact that I achieved my goal. I wanted to be a chief executive very early on in my career. I wanted to work for an organisation that made a difference, and I've had the opportunity to do so in a couple of organisations, but more particularly in this organisation. I love what I do now. I love the people I work with, and why we do it. Shaping the future for early childhood education so that all our children thrive and learn in New Zealand. And to me, that's really special. Personally, the achievements for me is that I've played for South Africa and New Zealand on the Hockey World stage at the World Games, and that's an honour, and something that I can really be proud of and look back on in my profession. And to be fair, the leadership roles that I've had in my sport have definitely crossed over to my work life.
Any advice to or for aspiring women leaders or women out there in the workforce who are looking to move into the leadership career direction?
Yeah, I would definitely say find your mentors, find your subject matter experts, surround yourself with good people that can guide you in that learning as you work through your career. Empathy and sticking to your core values is really important. Be assertive, don't be afraid to be assertive and courageous, because you're going to need some of that, and just know that your success is also through others, and so bring people along with you on that journey, and empower people to get on with their job, give them the tools and the resources they need, but also hold them to account, because that's where the responsibility and accountability comes from, but you're also providing them that growth and that learning.
What do you get up to these days outside of work?
For me, it's work-life balance is quite a challenge. When you're in a senior leadership role or a chief executive role, you can never really plan. You have really busy times, and then you might get a bit of a downtime. So it's about going with the flow. I'm not great at work-life balance, to be fair, but what I do is make sure that I make the most of my downtimes. My family and my sport play a big role in my downtimes, and so yeah, that's for me. And then also, indulging in the odd reality TV to switch the brain off, and my sport, exercise and my health are important to me, and sometimes a good massage can also be, a relief providing outlet.
Well, look, that's all my questions. Thank you very much for coming in today and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. I'm sure people will find that most interesting, and all the best for the future, and thanks for joining us on the Beyond Recruitment Women in Leadership video series.
Fantastic. Kia ora. Tēnā koutou katoa.